morning.
Gimel Amud Beis, Gimel Amud Aleph. The Esheinu lo shomeh v'lo midbar, somebody who can't hear or speak. V'shoite v'katan, somebody who has lost his mind and a minor. P'tur naf min hasimcha. Not only are they potter from bringing the oil free, they're potter from the shalmei simcha. Hoyel, because p'tur mikol mitzvahs, someone's p'tur, they're potter from all mitzvahs. Ma'ishna linyan riyah to p'tiri. Comes out that a cheresh and an elaim, a deaf and someone who can, and a mute separately, they're potter from oilus re'iyah. But we said there that they are mechuyev to bring the korban simcha. Le'inyan re'iyah gomar re'iyah mehakel. There's a hekesh between the word re'iyah by oilus re'iyah and the re'iyah, where the Jewish people are commanded to gather to read Sefer Dvorim. D'chsiv hakel ta'am, anashim v'anashim v'ataf, uksiv bevo kol Yisrael le'roz. When, because they're all going to be seen. So how do we know that a cheresh and an elaim are potter from a hakel? You have to be able to hear, you have to be able to speak, to teach. The Tanya, Laman Yishmu, Prad Lamadaber Vena Shomea. Someone who can't hear. Laman Shomea Vena Medaber. Afraid the Gemara, right away, it seems that a person can't speak, he can't learn. Why should that be? There were two mutes, David b'Shevavusa de Rebbe, in the neighborhood of Rebbe, B'nei Bartid Rav Yochanan ben Gudgana, the grandchildren of Rav Yochanan, B'Amila b'nei Achtid Rav Yochanan. Some say it's the nephew of Rav Yochanan. The Chol Emes Davis Ayel Rebbe lebei Midrasha. Whenever Rebbe came to the yeshiva of Ayel V'Yasvi Kamai, they would sit in front of him. On the night of the they would shake their heads and they would move their lips as if they understand what's going on. Boy, Rebbe Rachmi Alayhi v'Yitzun, Rebbe davened for them and they were healed. And it turned out when they spoke, they knew everything. So somebody who can't speak can certainly learn. Amar Marzutra Kari Be'laman Yalamdu. Yeah, but they can't teach others because an Elam can't speak. Because he can't speak, we can't say that he can't learn. We learned that out from a different pasuk. The reason they're excluded is because they can't teach. You can't teach if you can't speak. Amrav Tarchum. Somebody's deaf in one ear. He's also going to be potter from oilus re'iyah. Shenemar ba'ozneihem. Plural. It's referring that it has to be done in front of all of Israel. We have another pasuk for that. That could mean even if they don't hear. It's only people who can hear. We learned it out from Laman Yishmu, so we learned both dinim. Somebody who's lame in one leg. Potter menariyak is potter from oilas riyah. Shenema regolim. You need two legs. Baharagolim meboile prad labale kabin. That comes to teach me somebody who has like a stump, somebody who wears a prosthetic leg. They can walk, since they don't have legs, they're not, they're potter. Sahumi pamim nafka. It also means legs. Tanya pamim ein pamim al raglayim. Chinu aimer tir mesna regel raglei ani pame dalim. The feet of the poor. V'oimer mayafu pamayich banalim bas nadim. How beautiful are your steps. So the word pamim can also refer to feet. Darash Rava. Maidich siv mayafu pamayich banalim bas nadim. What do we darshan? Kama noim raglayim shel Yisrael b'shasha l'regel. How beautiful are the steps of Klal Yisrael when they go up l'regel. Bas Nadiv, Bito Shalav Ravinu, Shenikra Nadiv. Klal Yisrael, the children of Ravinu, who was called the donor. Shenamar Nadivei Amim, Ne'asafu, Am, Elokei Avraham. Elokei Avraham, Lo Elokei Yitzchak, Ela, Elokei Avraham, Shayatchilu L'Gerim. He was the first of the Gerim. Arav Kana Darsh, Rav Nasan Bar Manyum Yishur Rav Tanchum, Maidich Siv Abor Reik Ein Bo Moyim. When they threw Yosef into the pit, it says the pit was empty, didn't have water. If you say that the pit was empty, I know that there's no water in it. It didn't have water, but it had snakes and scorpions. That the Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar went to be Makabel, their Rebbe. Rabbi Yeshua asked them what chidush was in the base medrash today. We're your talmidim. We drink from your water. Still, Rabbi Yeshua said, there's got to be every day in the yeshiva. There's a new chidush. Shabbos shel mi haisa. Who was darshaning? This was at the time when they made a revolt against Rabbi Gamliel, and they appointed Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah that his beard grew overnight. So, but they would rotate, and some Shabbosim was Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah's Shabbos. So that's why they said Shabbos shel Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. So, what did he darshan? Armel b'parshas Hakel. Hakel sa'am. Anashim v'anashim v'atav. Gather the men, the women, the children. Im anoshim boim limud noshim bos lishma. If the men are coming to learn and the women are coming to hear, taf lama boim. What's the children for? Kidei litem schar l'meviyehem. That the parents get reward for bringing the children. Amar lahem, Magayas toiva isa b'yadchem v'ikashem l'abdim. You had such a beautiful pearl, and you didn't want to share it with me? V'od darash. He darshan more. Es Hashem e'amarta hayom, v'Hashem e'mircha hayom. Amar l'makadosh baruch l'Yisrael. Atem asituni chativa chat ba'olam. You made me one monotheistic God in the world. Ani aseh etchem chativa chat ba'olam. I'm going to do the same for you in the world. Atem asituni chativa chat ba'olam d'chsu shma Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem echad. V'ani aseh etchem chativa chat ba'olam. I will make for you one thing. Shneamar umi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. V'afu potach l'darash. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah darshan more. Divrei chachamim kador vanos. The words of chachamim are like a dorvan, which is like a stick that they use to drive the animals. Uchumash pros netuim balei asufos numero echad. Pasuk in Kohelet. Lama nimshlu divrei Torah l'dorban. Why is divrei Torah like a dorban? The dorvan keeps the oxen straight when they're plowing in order to bring forth bread, which is life for the world. After divrei Torah, words of Torah keep people on the straight and narrow from the ways of death to the ways of life. So a dorban is movable. So different movable. Mashmaros is like nails. So it's kavua. It's forever. Imam Asper is a chasav lo yoser This masmer is it doesn't lack anything. Doesn't have more. You might think this kind of Torah is also chaser. They're planted. Manati azu parvarava. Something that you plant grows. After Torah parvarava, Torah grows the same way. And the pasuk says Bale asufos. These are Talmidei Chachamim that gather in groups and learn Torah. And they don't always come up with the same halacha. Halalo metamin, valalo metarin. These paskin that it's tamin, these paskin it's tohar. Halalo oisrim, valalo matirin. One asters, one matirs. Halalo poisim, valalo machshirin. Shema yomer adam heichani lo mitor me'ata. Well, how are we going to learn Torah going forward? We have multiple opinions. It was all given from one shepherd. Kel echad naslan. One God gave it. Parnas echad amaron. One leader spoke it to us. From the master of the world, Hashem. You should make your ears like it's a bowl that they put
mill hopper.
Yeah, that they put seeds in. So you make your ear like a kli that will not lose a drop. Acquire a discerning heart. To hear both of sides. As divrei oisim, as divrei matim, as divrei poisim, as divrei machshirim. A generation does not be reft as long as Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is in the generation. So why did they tell him right away, these drushes? They were afraid, and we'll see why they were afraid. Detanya. Ma'aser Rabbi Yossi ben Durmaskis, Shalach Lahagil Rabbi Elazar Belod, who went to visit Rabbi Elazar. He also asked him what was the chiddush. They paskind Aman Umoyav Ma'asrin Ma'aser Ani B'Shviyas. The territory of Ammon and Moab, that's on the other side of the Jordan, they're not part of Eretz Israel, so there's no din Shemitah and Meiser on it. But because they're close to Eretz Israel, the people, the farmers there do give Meiser Ani. During Shvius, in order to provide for the Aniyim. Amr lo. So Rabbi Elazar said, Yoisi, your eyes should come out of their place and fall into your hands. So Pashat Yadav Akibalenav, his eyes popped out of his head. Bach Rabbi Elazar v'Amar, Sod Hashem l'Reav uvriso l'hodiam. That there's a secret given to the Bnei Israel, even though they don't know the reasons behind it, they speak the truth. Amar lo lechem or lehem. So they went, he told them to tell the Bnei Yeshiva and the Yeshiva who passing in this way, Al tachush l'menaichem. Forget about the fact that you counted and you paskin like this. Maybe you didn't paskin la halacha. Because you think you were mesakin a new takana. Kach mekublanim Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai shesham merabah v'rabah hilchos l'man shinai. Amanu mo'av masri ma'israni b'shviyas. There's a much earlier halacha that was accepted. Ma'atam. Harbe krachim kovshor l'mitzrayim v'lo kovshor l'Bavel. There were many places that the Olam Mitzrayim conquered, but when Klal Yisrael came back from Babel, they didn't conquer. And therefore, they should kedusha rishoina kitchel l'shaytiv v'loy kitchel asid lavo. So those areas that were miskadish by Yoshua was not a permanent kedusha. It's only as long as the Bnei Yisrael were there that there was kaddish. But once they weren't there, it left. And then when the Olei Bavel came up, they were smart. When the Olei Bavel came back there to Israel, they didn't conquer Ammon and Moab in order to allow there to be some areas that provide food for the Aniyim during Shemitah. So he davened, and the eyes went back to Yossi in his head. So because this story was known, that's why these Talmidim, they didn't want to say the story to Rabbi Yoshua until he actually told them that he wants to hear. Tan Rabbanon, Ezeu Shoita. What's the definition of a Shoita? What's the simonim that he's Meshuggah? Hayotze Yechiba goes out at night by himself. Valon V'Vesakfros, he sleeps in the cemetery. V'Makares Ksusa, he tears his clothing. Itmar, Ravuna Omar. Achi Kulam Vasach, you need all of these. Even one. What's the case? If he acted in a Meshuggah way, then even one simon is enough. If he didn't act in a derech shtus, even if he did all three of these things, he shouldn't be treated like a Meshuggah man. So the Gemara says, in both, according to both Mandamrim, he's acting in a Meshuggah way. However, maybe he had a special reason why he was sleeping in the Beis HaKvaros. He wanted Ruach Tumah to come on him. It's not, we don't want that to happen, but there's a reason. So it's not a siman Meshuggah. That he has a fever. He wants to cool himself down. That's why he went outside. People who tore their clothes, these were like philosophers, people who thought deeply, and they don't even realize they tore their clothes. Kivan David Nalakulu, but since he did all of these at one time, Havalu Kami Shanagach Shor Chamor V'Gamal, V'Nasamud Lakol. For example, you only become a muad when you gore 3 times, but it's specific to a certain animal. So if a shore was goring another ox, a donkey, and a camel, he becomes a muad for everyone. So same thing here. If he does all 3 of these actions, he's considered a Meshuggah man.
By the way, when Navadika used to sleep in the Beis HaKvaros, I don't know whether Navadika is a Meshuggah. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But I think they used to sleep in a chabura. They didn't go by themselves. Okay, Ernie, we're learning tomorrow.